Hi guys, it's Alyssa and welcome back to my channel. For those out there in the stratosphere who do not know who I am, my name is Alyssa Trahan, formerly Alyssa Sharp. I put out a lot of astrology videos over the past 7 years, and I recently came back from a hiatus to do some more shit here. This video is going to be really fun and I'm very excited about it. Before I get into it though, I want to give a shout out to my patrons on Patreon. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be able to do this right now. So I want to thank all of you guys. If you're interested in my Patreon, it is linked down below. I do put out videos on how to read your chart. I put out videos on my own system in astrology of classifying your personality and your lot in life. So if you like this video, you can check out my Patreon or check out all my free videos on YouTube. Basically, this is not your life path number at all. This is your birthday. So for instance, I was born October 2nd, 1985. The only number that matters there is 2, October 2nd. I am a 2 birthday number. Your birthday number will tell you about your skills and your karmic debt. Did you know that? So just by knowing the day that you were born, you can know what you have to overcome in this lifetime and what your special skills are that you can bring to the world. I'm into a lot of life path, astrology, chart reading and everything, but the actual birthday seems to sort of sum up my life in a way that's almost mystical and magical, and I wanted to deliver that to you guys. So also, if you were born, say my birthday was October 15th, 1985, the only number would matter here would be 15, but 15, 1 plus 5, 15 reduces to 6, so you would be a 6th birthday. So that's what you need to find in the timestamps below in the information section, or I will pin a comment up top for you guys. But let's get into your birthday. This is for you if you were born on the 1st, on the 10th, or on the 19th. Is there another one that you could have been born on? The 28th, 8th, 9th, 10th, yeah, or the 28th. Okay, so if you were born on any of those days during the month, your birthday number is 1. Now 1 is the most masculine of all of the numbers. It represents Adam and Eve. It's also the number of the Magician Tarot card. This is basically your first building blocks of DNA information. We have new beginnings here. We also actually have some endings because every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. You can say that 1 is sort of a trickster. It likes the light on itself. It's an entertainer, and it's very single-minded, independent, innovative, motivated, and motivating, and definitely an action number. So if you were born on the 1, these things sort of describe you, but not necessarily your personality, more likely to describe skill gifts after you overcome this karmic energy. So what you want to overcome here in this life is an inability to stay focused. You might be too grounded in reality and, paying the bills, the daily grind, doing things for a real life purpose. So it can get you sort of depressed in that way, like that, the life's a bitch and then you die. You might have to deal with a lot of miscommunication from yourself and from others. Your mind doesn't naturally understand somebody else's thoughts, so it can cause you to stammer, to have a lot of emotions that you can't control, and to deal with the 7th deadly sin of wrath. You might have a lot of anger to overcome. So you overcome these through understanding what the 1 actually means and what it's trying to give you, which is passion, intellect, leadership. It wants you to be powerful in these areas. It wants you to take lead of people. It wants you to turn that anger into passion for something. Instead of anger at someone or at your circumstances, or just like this free internal floating anger that you can't seem to get out of. It wants you to, turn that, be a magician and turn that into passion and direct it all your energy into something that you love to do. If you get too caught up in money and the daily grind and, working for the man, you'll never get out, and you'll never actually get that skill that you really want, that you deserve, that you are a leader, that you are smart, and that people do connect with you on a mental level. You can be the smartest person in the entire world, but if you can't connect to somebody and can't get it out of you in a way that people understand, then who really cares if you're smart, right? And these are things that you actually have and will be given in this life, but until you overcome these little areas, it's going to be pretty hard for you. So with this being your number, you might not always feel like your personality wise is action oriented or single minded, but it does mean that you possess the skills to set forth in the world in that way. And it's a very masculine number. I mean, that's why it is the Adam and the Eve part. But doesn't necessarily mean that you even feel masculine. This is just about your skills in the masculine area of life, correct? So we are masculine and feminine inside of ourselves, and in our own head, we can carry on many of these traits. And so when your skills are in the more masculine area, even if you are female, you're meant to rise above, at the top, basically the way that a man normally would. And if you are a man in this area, you might find that you actually do naturally rise to the top to these areas because you have the skills to do that. When people look at you, they see it in you, even if you can't even see it in yourself yet. So understanding that people do already notice this in you might actually help you be able to work with it and utilize it and be like, this is what people see in me, so I should start seeing it in myself and rise to that occasion. So thank you so much, and I will talk to you later. Goodbye. Hi guys, this is for everyone born on the 2nd or the 11th or the 20th or the 29th. Your number reduces or is 2. So this is all about you. Can go, figure out how to transition that. That was a bad transition. Okay, so 2 is the number of Eve in Adam and Eve. She's also what we could say is the high priestess in the tarot. There is a balance to this. I always feel like she's the Gaia strain of life, like the sons and daughters from the earth. There's a duality to this number, that the splitting of the powers, the balance, I guess it's kind of like Libra energy. I mean, in that way, because it's a cooperative, very laid back and adaptable, negotiable number. But this is not to say that you are an adaptable, negotiable person who just gets walked over, but you might actually find that people view you in that way. They kind of see you as someone that will probably back down first. And so you might find that when you don't back down, people are sort of shocked and appalled that you stood up for yourself. It's wrong for you to do that. Now, you might also see that people will talk to you a little bit like you're stupid. I'm not personal anecdote or anything, but a lot of times the 2, because it's the second from the 1. The 1 is the one that people are look at like it's the leader. It knows what it's talking about, but the 2 definitely has this appearance that it might need help, that it might need to share the load, or it needs somebody to tell it what to do. And so if you're born on this day, you might have a lot of other people's baggage and garbage already on you, which adds to this karma that you are meant to overcome, which can cause blockages in your third eye. Your body might start decaying. You have the complete lack of your own virtues and good things about yourself. And this can create depression and anxiety inside of yourself. So you're trying to overcome this. And it's because when people put a lot on you and you're carrying a lot of other people's burdens, you have to realize part of you, it wants to do that. You want to share the load of somebody else. You want to put all of this stuff on you because you like to be compromising. The fact of the matter, if you were born in any of these days, is that most people don't like to be compromising. Just you guys do. Okay, so you're compromising with people who aren't. And you have to be aware of that. And sometimes in order to balance out something, you have to look and be like, if I just stay in the center, okay, am I actually balancing something out? Or am I just getting pulled over to where it's already weighted down, like on the scales, right? So here's this one scale, it's already really low, and you're like, well, I got to balance it so it goes back up to, ground zero. But how can you balance something to go to ground zero by standing in the middle? You can't. It's going to flip over. So in a lot of ways, the two has to realize how to balance correctly, which might mean weigh it down in an extreme way, even if your views and what you want to do don't align with that, because that becomes part of your skill, how to actually balance in your own life. Yes, balance yourself because you are in complete and total control of yourself, but you're not in control of anybody else. And you'll find that they don't let people take control of their lives, but they definitely like to control the 2-day person because they see it in you that you will compromise, you will give in to them. So what you have to learn in this life after you overcome that is wisdom and discernment. You will learn how to discern if somebody is good or bad through the fact that you will learn who is putting bad things on you, who is trying to weigh you down, who is taking too much from you. You will also, learn that, wisdom comes from pain and trials. And if you look at the number 2, it is the number of Eve. It's life. It's the feminine, the high priestess. She is the heavenly mother. So you look at how she has to take on a lot of things, but she can't always be the most nurturing person in the world. She can't do it. She can, be the moon, be the mother, but it doesn't mean she has time to nurture the entire world, because if she does, they might set her on fire. So it's something to do. And even if you are a masculine person, having this number as your skill will tell you a lot about like why maybe people don't trust you with things like they do your peers. But overcoming all of these obstacles in time will give you the power to be wise, to be discerning, to know who you want on your team. And if that means flying solo for a while, that's something that you have to do in order to overcome that karmic pain to get those virtues. Another thing I mentioned was your body starts decaying. When you take on too much of other people's toxicity because you feel like you can help them, you lose part of your body. Your body becomes toxic itself. So there are like cleansing things that you should do on a regular basis to clear yourself of the world's gross pain that it wants to put on top of you. Another thing about you is you do have a gift of prophecy, which comes from, that third eye that you might get blocked. If you allow people into your life, they start blocking up your third eye, so drink spring water. Like, don't drink tap water. Fluoride is known to block your third eye. So if you're born on the second, if you want to experience more of these special skills that you have, take care of your body. And also, don't starve yourself. You start to go a little bit loopy when you starve yourself. Like fasting and everything, it works for a lot of people as a coping mechanism. But actually, the best way for a number 2 to cope is to do things that are more worldly and earthly, to connect to your Gaia roots, to your life roots, that you are a son or daughter of the earth as opposed to being of the sky. And grounding yourself and centering yourself, and that will allow you to have the gifts that the earth has of healing and receiving. I think that the 2 thinks that it's supposed to give a lot, but you can't. If you're balancing, if you are giving all the time, you are not receiving, and you're out of balance, which causes a great depression and can even make you very lustful in a negative way. And you want to turn that lust from things that you're trying to take that don't belong to you, and you to turn it into like a lust for life that you want to live, that you want to achieve and get ahead in your own way through your own wisdom and discerning powers, not because you took it the way that a 1 or a 3 would. And that is your 2-day. I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye. Okay, hi guys. This one is your 3rd birthday. So this would mean that if you were born on the 3rd or on the 12th, the 21st, or the 30th, you are born on a 3 day. Now, the 3-day is a very spectacular number. I always really love 3. It's like the God number. It's like a really beautiful number. When you think about the God number, you think of like creation and children and childlike wonder. There's a lot of power to the 3 because it is the number of the triangle, the pyramids, basically the strongest number in the universe. And so when you are born on this, you kind of have like great responsibility, or great power comes with great responsibility. It's like I saw Spider-Man once, and I say this all the time and I forgot how to say it. So great power comes with great responsibility, right? And it's because you have to walk the fine line of being a grown-up and adulting, but also maintaining that childlike wonder, because there is power there. There is power in creation. There is power in seeing the world through a child's eyes. This is about learning to communicate from your heart. 3 is the number of communication. It's also the Empress, and the Empress is like this kind, nurturing woman. And so there's a lot of that there too, that you are meant to be kind and nurturing and childlike and perfect. And there's just a lot of pressure on you. And I'm really sorry about that, about all the pressure that is on you, but you still have it and you still have to deal with it. So what you are overcoming this pressure. You're overcoming your inability to speak what your heart tells you to speak. And the fact that people put a lot on your shoulders, okay? You can't just walk through life shirking responsibility. People expect you to be responsible. They expect you to be creative. They expect you to be mature and open and wise and everything. If you're not everything to everybody, you're nothing to nobody. And that's what it kind of will feel like in your mind because of the way people treat you. But you do have to know that people do think highly of you. I think you should know that, because when this is your birthday number, it does tell you the way that people think of you. And when you have the 3 written on your face, people like the 3. They want to be near the 3. Everyone wants to be closer to the idea of God and love and speaking from their heart and creating something powerful, correct? Like, that's what people want. So they want to be near you. They may not know how to give you the roles in life that you deserve or that you work hard for, but they definitely want to be near you and enjoy you, and they trust you. And so learning that will allow you to be able to get through or get over that external pressure that you always have on yourself to be important. 3 is also, it comes with a lot of fear, because if you look at like 3, and I'm saying about your heart, what if your heart is void of love? You will be on the other side. You will be fearful, which can lead to hoarding and gluttony and self-nurturing that you do, because maybe you feel like no one's going to nurture you. People are waiting for you to, and that might not even be what you think you're supposed to do. So you just start nurturing yourself, and you spend a lot of self-inward connection, right? Like you're trying to overcome this need to satisfy and fulfill yourself always first, because you might feel like your guard is down, or you're not, people are going to take from you or something, and that you just have to be this certain way. But the truth is that when you are born on a 3-day, you have the skill of nurturing the world and of giving to the world without losing who you are. So a big step in your overcoming and your obstacle to get this skill is to actually turn what you're facing inside of you and turn it outside of you. You start in this, it's like a self-sabotage that you have to keep stuffing your own life with things instead of being able to give out. You know you want to give out, but as soon as you do, you realize you're losing it, and then you can no longer self-nurture. And you have to be reliant on the fact that you are an overflowing cup of nurture, an overflowing cup of a promise to the world. Like, you can help the world. And as long as you see that and you have humility about it, you don't need to feel like people are trying to take from you. They see something inside of you that they feel like might be a promise to heal, and that's what they want from you. And you are allowed to give it to them. That is part of your skill. Obviously, I mean, you're already standing on this perfect foundation because you were born on this day. It's just something that you have to learn to let go of. Like, let go of holding on so tight Just because you feel a little bit out of whack, you are the balance. You are already stable. So if that is already true of you, what are you holding on to? The rest of the world is not like that. So that's why they do want things from you. So obviously learning boundaries is good for you, but I would also say that you don't have to have as many boundaries as other people. And I'm not trying to say that like, okay, let toxic people in, let people just take from you. But I'm trying to let you know that if you have less fear about you stepping out into the world, you'll be able to give more of yourself. Because if you're too busy self-focused and self-nurturing, you won't go anywhere. You won't be able to do any of the things. And actually nurturing the world is something that fulfills you in a way that is incomparable. Self-nurturing could go on forever and ever and ever, and you can never be satisfied. But when you give of yourself truly and just surrender in that sacrifice, you actually are fulfilled. You're like, whoa, I actually don't need to do that anymore. I feel really good. It makes you happier, and you start to realize that. And it has to do with the fact, like, children love to greet people. They love to compliment. They love to go into the world with a sense of awe and wonderment. And so when you do live your life that way, like a child, you start being able to really grow more from yourself and give it out. I mean, you don't have to give out like one-on-one situations with all these people and where you just keep giving them stuff, but you have to realize that your natural karmic overcoming has to do with you only giving to yourself and being very afraid to give to anybody else. So that is your 3 birthday. Your skill is giving out in nurture and creative communication, basically, to being able to creatively speak and fulfill yourself through fulfilling other people and their voids. So thank you, 3s, and I will talk to you later. Goodbye. Okay, guys, this is for you 4s. This means anybody who was born on the 4th, on the 13th, on the 22nd, or on the 31st of any month. You are a 4 birthday. So you're going to tell you about your skills and what you have to overcome. But first you need to know a little bit about the number 4. 4 is, what's the Emperor in the tarot deck. It can actually be a lot about your own limitations and structure and utilizing yourself to the best of your abilities within the confines of a certain structure or block. It's very realistic, practical self-reliance, and you definitely have your own motivations to achieve your dreams and in all the sense of the words. There is something about you that people will see, and they'll think that you are practical and reliable, and that they want to put a lot of burden on you, a burden to carry the people. I kind of think about Beyonce being born on September 4th. She's a 4, right? And how, I mean, she's got a fan base that will go to war for her, but they also put a lot of things on her, like she's going to heal the entire world with her music, or that she's the most creative genius that the world's ever seen. Like, there's a lot of stuff. They're like, I'm just giving you this. Like, this is yours now. Because when you're a 4, people believe that you can handle it and that you will do it. So knowing that about yourself, when you see this number play out in your life, it might help you actually be able to overcome your karmic obstacles, because there are some karmic obstacles that you have to overcome, as every number does, in order for you to find that you actually do believe or understand why people are treating you this certain way. Like, if you can't see if you're insecure, because you might be, you might have or go through your life with like a lack of authority over your own life. Like, you don't have power over your own life, which will creatively block you and make you lazy and tired and not want to do things, and find your same place on the couch every day and stay there for as long as possible. And maybe you got to look your best when you go out, but you'd much rather somebody else take care of you. The overcoming this number is like really understanding that you're put into a position where it could be very easy for you to do nothing when you don't have to, unless somebody's telling you to do it. Somebody puts you in a position of authority, but you're also, answering directly to your boss. You're going to follow the rules implicitly you're not going to break free of them, and you're going to rely on these rules to lead the way in your life. And then when you're not being told what to do, you're just going to sit down and do nothing. The problem is that this is nobody's going to tell you to get up because of the amount of authority that you naturally omit and project. So you might feel like if somebody wanted you to move, they would tell you, but it's not true. People don't think they can tell you. And so you're overcoming basically this trapped place. You are trapped in an idea of yourself that is not true. That you don't have control over the things that you do, and you don't need control over them. In reality, the 4 is the best when it's in control, when it is structuring other people, when it is leading others through their example, through their ability to self-start. There is an innovative quality to the 4 that is completely lost when you can't move. And so the skills that you're actually trying to get are your ability to eliminate things that don't matter, to minimalize and live in minimalism, so that you can spend more time with others and engaging in an actual realistic happiness, not just happiness because you've boxed yourself in through fear and you don't have to do anything with your life. Sometimes I'm kind of thinking of Office Space, where he's like, what would you do with $1 million? Absolutely nothing. I feel like the 4 is kind of like that. I got all this money, I don't want to do anything anymore. I'm done. I work because I need to, but then in the end, I'd much rather just sort of stop and enjoy my wealth. But that actually doesn't make you happy. You are only happy when you are engaging with other people. And so you meet those people at work, you meet those people out in the world. So if you're in a position where you don't have to do anything, you still have to remind yourself to get up and to clear your space and clear your head, and you're good at that stuff. You're so good so that you can welcome people into your life, into your parties, into your creational space, so that you can move things in a better direction. It's not like the Emperor is not a nurturing situation. It's like a father dynamic. And so when you think of your 4, you have an authority, like a father-like figure that inside of you that likes to lay down the rules. So you have to make sure that the rules that you lay down are good and minimal and hospitable, kind. A father that people want to come over to your house because your father's cool and he's hangs out with you and he talks to you and he adds some value to your life and value to the neighbor kid's life who might not come from a good home. That's when the 4 is the best and what your skills are. But when you don't want to be like the 4 that's the father figure that people are well, all he does is sit on his lazy boy and pass out in the middle of football game, because that isn't actually what makes you happy. Even if you think, oh, that would be a great life, it's actually not. And you want to succeed and you want to create and you want to help people through your ability to structure correctly. And so that is your skill, and it's a powerful talent that you have as long as you utilize it correctly. Anyway, that is all for you 4. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hi guys, this is the birthday 5. So anyone who's born on the 5th, on the 14th, also the 23rd, all of those will make 4, 5. So first you need to understand the number 5 is about change. It's a power of change. Nothing is inevitable except for change. And it's interesting because 5 is also the Hierophant, which in tarot is a part of the rulership of the land, how we rule. So a lot of times it looks like the Pope. So in the religious sect, the Pope is the one who's going to be making the rules, which is interesting because it's not actually the Emperor who comes before, who is a powerful structural card. And and the 4 itself, every table has 4 legs because it's the best thing for structure. Hierophant's 5. Once you add a 5 to it, the 5th leg, you don't need it. You don't need a 5th leg. So you think about this, you're not actually, as the 5, you're not actually making the rules for structure. You're making the rules for enlightenment. for progress. And this is part of what people see in you, that you're going to lead them outside of the box, because the box has 4 walls. You're the 5th. You come after, right? So with that, people, they like that in you, and they see it as like you're going to take somebody on a creative adventure, and you're going to explore and question things that you never would have questioned otherwise, and sort of open your mind in that way. But the problem is that there is a karmic overcoming before you can even get into these sort of skills. You have to start understanding that you have too much of an outward focus. You're always learning. You're never leading. You feel like you got to know more and more and more and more, and you can't actually get it out to people, or you do and it starts changing. There's another thing too, that 5, if you're born on like a 5-day, you have the ability to channel energy, because it's creative change. It's ebb and flow of life. You're getting in the breath of life in different ways, and which means that you can actually start channeling evil things and evil desires and giving them to the world too. So you almost have like 2 steps. First, you have to realize you're not a forever student. You're also someone who's going to help bring in the change. So you can't just wonder while you wander all the time. You have to come back and you have to give people what you learned. But then on top of that, once you do, it's like you have to make sure what you learned isn't evil, that it will actually better society, that there's not a sect of people that this is going to destroy and hurt, because you don't need balance. You don't have to have all of that stuff. This is not who you are. You're kind of like I guess you could say you might have too much pride. Like 5 is also just this number that brings forth pride in yourself, that you're saying the right thing. Why would you ever do anything bad? And then you see how that actually, like, it affects, it's the Pope number. So how does that affect religious places? They allow things to go on that are incredibly evil, because that idea of new rules to bring progress can actually be just self-serving. And you might be like, oh, these are these new rules, but the only person that they're going to bring any like light to or any happiness to is someone like you. And you have to have a lot of awareness of self to see what you're actually doing. And when someone brings it up to you that you might be doing something wrong, you can't dismiss it right away or fight against it. You have to value the input because of the responsibility of that 5 number. Do you want to bring the world into death, or do you want to bring it into life? What are you saying? It might make sense for you. It really might. But sometimes what is life for you is death for the world. And that is against what you should be teaching and like learning and all of that stuff. But once you can come over this and you can go outside of this 5, you learn to actually channel the universal spirit, which is like astrology. It's like learning the transit, the things that affect you and everybody else, and you just kind of receive them like downloads, and they are good. They are for balance. They are for the betterment of everybody. And you can also learn, you can take that pride and turn it into realistic self-confidence, that you're not missing a beat about who you are, not your dark side or your light side, but you're actually you're actually in love with both sides of you. Like, you have so much confidence inside of your life. You just ooze it to people, and people want to follow you, and it makes you a great teacher, and to give that great wisdom by the amount of searching and wandering that you've done in life to be able to lead you to these newfound answers. So the 5 it's a very powerful number in the sense of like, you're not here to establish what has already been. You are here to establish a new order. So make sure that you have understood the goals of that and get excited for the life that awaits you. 5 is really powerful in that sense. So anyway, I will talk to you later, 5s. Bye. Hi guys, this is if you were born on the 6th or the 15th or the 24th. If you're born on any of those days, you are a 6er. birthday, and this is for you. So before you kind of get into this, the 6th birthday is actually like the 6th number, I guess. It is a nurturing number. It's like the number of the actual Mother Earth, which is very interesting because 2 sort of takes off as like the child of the Mother Earth. It's like the High Priestess, but the 6 is the lovers. Okay, so it's this part about connection to somebody or something else. And so I like to think of like the lovers as rooting, right? Because in tarot, the number 6 card is the lovers. So you're rooting to the earth through sex, through getting together like that way. But it can also be like you love your child so much and you connect them to your breast for nourishment, right? So man or woman, you are looking for this connection and you're desiring to help somebody gain a connection through you. Okay. And that's what makes the 6 such a really like great number for people to have. It brings forth like harmony and inner peace and idealism because you are the protector. You have your future set between you and another person, and you can see your future right in front of you. But what can happen with this and this karma that you have to overcome is that being out of balance, because where the 2 is like this High Priestess, once you get to the 6, you're the lovers, you're no longer channeling it like this, you're trying to find your balance deeply connected to somebody else. So you're looking for relationships that will help you gain something that you feel like you've lost instead of actually being a realistic love affair. You want them to give you something that you don't have that will better your life in probably a superficial way. You're getting through that karmic thing because there is a 6th need for power. Desiring sex is desiring power over somebody else. And so you have to realize you don't want power over someone else, you want power between 2 people. So that karma can actually stuff you because you're looking for things that don't belong to you. And you're probably not even realizing it, but you're struggling with envy and jealousy that somebody has something that you don't have, or somebody is appreciated more than you. And you feel, and you can't get out of your head that you are meant to have that, or if you had it, you would be better. And so you have to prove yourself in that way. So you start showing off in a negative way, or trying to overpower someone, right? Or to do something completely horrible to somebody that you otherwise would have loved because of your insecurity, thinking that you need something else to bring you forward, or you need to be validated through the affection of somebody else. And that, I mean, it's tough shit. It's really hard to like go through that when you are naturally wired to see where you fall inside somebody else's arms. So if you're doing that, well, you might just be never learning how to do it solo first, never learning how to be that whole person, and thinking you need something that exists outside of you, when in reality you're going to get it after you get what exists within you. And so but the skills that come out of this are amazing, because like the 5 before you are a channel for something, and the 5 is a channel for like the universe, for astrology, that kind of stuff. But you're a channel for unconditional love, meaning you don't even have to put forth the effort of love. You naturally will bring it through you. But it won't come through you if you're blocked, if you're unhappy, if you're jealous, if you think that you just need one other person to complete you and you haven't completed yourself. Once you've completed yourself, you take in all of that unconditional love, and you become very encouraging and supporting, and you don't have to be the biggest nurturer in the entire world. You don't have to always do that, because you are you're giving love out of yourself. You're already, I guess, you're a nurturing vessel. You stand there and people see you as nurturing, so you don't have to go out of your way to do that. And then love will come through out of your nurturing body, which puts you into a very balanced situation, giving you a lot of internal power, as long as you're not looking for it externally. And of course, once you have it, then if you're going to get the pick of the litter, the people who are going to appreciate you and love you they're going to be lined up around the block for you, and you're going to get to feel like, which one do I want? Which lover will not completely, but give me that kind of happiness that I want, that connection to another person? Because your skill of channeling this great love is the greatest power in the universe. It's better than powering up over somebody, and it's about knowing you have love inside of you, that your heart is beating, and that you are a powerful being all on your own, and you were chosen to carry out the task of this great love into the new age and into the world. So that is your skill 6, and I will talk to you later. Okay guys, this is for 7. So that means if you were born on the 7th of the month, or the 16th of the month, or the 25th of the month, because those all will reduce to the 7. So 7 is heaven. All right. So that's your number, and that's all you need to know about it. Just kidding. 7 is a magical number, but it's coincidentally the number of the chariot, which the chariot is like all over the place to me. Whenever you see the chariot, it's like tearing down windows and doors, and I have not found eyes like yours. That's how I feel. That's a Shakira song. Okay. So basically the 7 represents, your dreams, illusions, magic. It's a number of mysticism and the life journey of healing yourself and other people and trusting your intuition. So when you are born on the 7th, you do have this mystical power, and people will see you as a mystical human being. Kind of like there is a story in the Bible of Jesus who, he had these magical healing powers, right? And so people would just touch him because they knew that if they just touched him, they would be healed. And I think that people feel that way about you in a negative and a positive way. They look at you like, okay, if I'm around you and if you like me, then I'm going to be healed of some ailment that I have, maybe insecurities or maybe something actually physical. But on the same vein, they might feel like if they have too much shame and too much ego covering up these dark places, that they might actually resent you because you point out the flaws in other people through your magical touch of healing. So this kind of it's a big thing on top of you. It's definitely people are forcing your hand in a way, like forcing you to have to defend yourself against weird things, if you care at all. Because sometimes the 7 just kind of lets things roll off, like, I don't really care either way, because it is so head in the clouds. You might find yourself getting into like gaming and all of that just because you like to escape your natural reality. It's just not as interesting. Once you find out something that can exist in the real life and that it's not as magical as what your imagination wants, you get a little bit downtrodden, I think, because you can't make everything. You can't just like come into the world the way that you do when you come into your dream world. But so the karmic overcoming that you actually have is that you have so much chaotic energy, and that like relates to this chariot. If you can be great at a lot of things and almost bring magic when you bust down the doors, but if you're not taking care of yourself, this energy is chaos. And when you're living in chaos, you can't have your faith. You can't have intuition. How can you even hear your own head speak, right? But people see it in you, but you're not seeing it in yourself. And this can actually cause you to be very greedy and to need materialistic things around you all the time because you have a fear that you're not grounded enough. But grounding through money leads to evil and not being kind to people and keeping your chaotic energy intact and not listening to yourself, not slowing yourself down to see like what kind of magic can you actually bring to the world? Or is it just stuck? It's stuck in your brain, in your dream world, but you are unable to make certain things like a physical reality. Because there is true that magic can exist. Miracles happen in the world, but they don't happen the way that they do in like Harry Potter. In our mind they do, and in your mind especially. But you can get one thing out in this lifetime, one magical thing, one magical quality. You could bring it out. You just have to get over that chaotic energy and that need for grounding through evil things. You ground through money, you ground through evil, and then you live an evil existence. And that becomes the opposite. Like, it's just, you're swayed into this other area, which can be devastating for the entire world, especially for yourself, who you're supposed to be living in heaven, not evil, not hell, right? But what happens, and actually in losing all that faith that you should naturally have too, so you have no faith for the future. And that causes us, when you have no faith for the future, it can cause us to self-sabotage or sabotage people around us. So the skill that you really have, and on top of everything, is that you do have a psychic faith, prophetic spirit, and you're fun. That energy that doesn't have to be tearing down anybody around you. It can be all about having a good time, enjoying yourself, turning water into wine, and seeing the future clearly with your cleared out third eye to see, like, this is like what life's about. It's about enjoying yourself and looking forward to the things in the future that you get to enjoy, that you get to, like, just live for, right? I mean, that's awesome. And I think as the 7 has, you're an inspiration to everybody through your faith and your attitude in life, and the fact that you are, why should you be excited for the future? Because you're going to give the world something special, something magical. You just wait for it. Like, follow your heart, follow your intuition, follow what it's leading you to, and enjoy your life. Learn how to enjoy your life by calming the chaos that you allow yourself to live in. And that is the 7 day. Talk to you guys later. Bye. Hi guys, this is for the 8 birthdays. So if you were born on the 8th or on the 17th or on the 26th, this day is for you. This is the power day, right? 8, the infinity, goes on and on and on. The card that actually aligns with you is strength, because of your power of overcoming obstacles and, easing the restrictions of reality. You have a super amount of ambition. There's inner drive for success and for power, and you have a lot of material goals that you are allowed to meet in this incarnation of your life, because you live in this real world and you are rewarded for your fighting spirit. Like right before you is the 7. The 7's really not allowed to do that. They have to let go and be free to bring the magic to the world, but you are already living in the magic of the world. And the magic of the world has a lot of obstacles in your way. So when people look at you, they do see you as strong, okay? So if anyone's reacting to you in a negative way, it's because they're afraid of you. I just want to put that out there so you kind of see, like, you have skills, even if you have very low self-confidence right now, or you feel like the world is always just against you, or there's a lot that you've seen, and it's sort of making you feel weighed down and tired and out of control. Like, you have a goal in life, you have power in this life, and people do see you overcoming these obstacles. They might not treat you the best way, but they do see that you are a powerful person, and so they respect that. I think, like, a lot of 8s don't realize, like, when your birthday's on the 8th, that you are powerful, like, that you are respected, because it just seems so hard. So when you start whining about your life or whatever, it does look really bad on you. It looks better on you when you react more positively. Even if on the inside you are more negative, that's how you gain your balance. You allow yourself to speak on and see the reality of the situation, but you clear it through, you purify it, and you start realizing, but this is going to lead to something better. This is going to be something greater, which helps you get through these karmic problems you have to overcome, which are mainly like your fear and self-hatred and losing hope, which can make you very angry. Now, losing hope is different than losing faith. You can have, like, no faith for the future, right? Because you just don't see it. Because faith is like jumping off of a cliff and knowing that somebody's out there trying to catch you, but you just have to have faith that they're not going to move their arms. Now, when you have hope, there's probably nobody out there that you can see. It's all foggy. So you're going to jump off the cliff and you're just going to hope that you don't die or that you grow wings or whatever. But you don't know. So when you have no hope, that means there's no drive. There's no movement. There's only anger at what the world has given you. And you can sit there and just feel shitty all the time and get into a big pile of despair. Now, I am not somebody who's into positive thinking because I don't believe that you can take a negative thought and make it positive. It would be like turning a valley into a mountain overnight just because you thought it into existence. You can't do that. It doesn't actually work that way because the valley will still always be there. You just kind of build up an imaginary mountain over it. But you can, however, take that valley and build it. Throw gold, stockpile good, beautiful things into this and create a mountain of gold over it. Take that valley and know that it can hold your treasure. And create a mountain that you can get to the top of. And I think that's like, if you start realizing that's why you are digging yourself out, you're getting yourself stronger, getting yourself more powerful, and leaping to an imaginary mountain. When you are an 8 number, you start losing your strength. You don't have enough anymore. And you forget things because you aren't allowing yourself to go in and be like, wow, I went through that. That was fucking traumatic. I'm mad. And you deal with how that pain. Because if you can turn that pain and that anger into something, worthwhile, something that you actually do see as benefiting you. There's so many people who are like, why does it keep happening? I'm ready for it to stop. I'm just ready for it to stop. But you don't get to decide when you're ready for it to stop. So then you're just like, okay, whatever, I'm over it. But then it comes again and you're not over it. You're still having to go back and be like, okay, wait, I'm over this one now. It's like, no, don't be over it. See that you are gaining strength and power through it and that you're not done yet. It's not time for you to have the easy way out yet, but if you look around you, you can see what you've already made and you've already created and the advancements that you've already done for the world just because you've been working, just because you did get rid of an obstacle. You pushed through an obstacle and now everybody else can run with you. And that's power in the world. And that's what puts you in leadership positions. And so you do have this skill to be able to do that, right? To get through these things, because instead of being angry, you can turn that anger into intensity. You are an intense person. You have an intense reason to get yourself out into the world because you're ambitious and you're powerful in that way. And I really like that about you. I think everybody does. And this gives you, psychic awareness of what's happening. You know the world so well. You can see it so well. You can channel the correct message to tell people, or you can give yourself the exact quickest movement to get through an obstacle when it comes your way because you've already dealt it. You've already gone through it. You recognize good and evil. And that to me is one of the most powerful things about the 8, and it's a huge skill to have. And anyway, that will lead you to your true happiness. Anyway, that is your 8, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. Okay guys, this is your 9th number. This is the last and the final of all the birth numbers. So if you were born on the 9th, on the 18th, or on the 27th, this is of any month, this is your number. You are a 9. Now 9 is considered the end, but sometimes it can actually be considered the beginning. I think 9 and 1 are sort of interchangeable in this way because every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. It's like it's closing time, but it's also just opening time. And 8 has more finality to it, this break through, break free, and start something new. So sometimes 9, it's the wisdom to carry on and go through your life, but with knowledge and understanding, where the 1 is like kind of sets out right after the 0, like on a fool's journey, but you have already kind of lived all of these other skill sets. And so you're sending out into the world everything under your belt already. So it's a new beginning that you have awareness with. So when you're born on the 9th, like people, they see you as wise. I think you kind of have this definite appearance of like, a wise old elf in a way, even if you are younger looking. And I think there's kind of a youngness too, like not immaturity. You look mature, but you also kind of have this playful vibe about you, and people really like it. The 9 is, I mean, it's great in that sense of giving you that skill. So I just want to tell you that, because if you're feeling like insecure in yourself and you don't know what you have, people do value your opinion. Okay, they value your opinion more than anybody else. 2 is the number of wisdom for people on this journey, but people aren't always looking at the 2 for their wisdom. They almost don't want it because it would be too balanced. And when you look at the 9 for wisdom, it's like, I like the 9's wisdom because it's got power already attached to it. It's got opening doors attached to it. Like, this is real world things, and they want that from you. So people do see it. And if they're unkind to you, it's because they are maybe a little bit afraid of your vision that you have. So in tarot, the Hermit is the 9, and I feel like that's kind of part of what it is. If you were to see the Hermit walking around, he's like lighting up the path, and everyone's like, I want to follow him because it's dark out and I need the lamp. And that's who you are. You're going to show people where to go. And I think people might rely on you a little bit too much in that sense, and you're kind of bogged down. So you have to remember to be free and to be happy and to love yourself. There is something about you that you can't do, as because the 9 does not follow through. Okay, it begins the journey, it lights the path, but then sometimes you're just like, and I'm done. So people are always following you. You have to make sure you let people know, like, you're not going to finish this journey with them. You're going to do something else. You have a lot of things to do in this life. It's not about one thing. So you can't make promises to people. You're not going to be able to keep them. You got to be free of people's connections and attachments to you. That's a big thing with the 9. So people will latch onto you, and you have to be like, no, sever that. Go be free yourself. I'll take you a little bit, but then I'm going to go. So make sure you got your own flashlight with you, okay? After I leave, you're going to need it. And I think that will help you clear your conscience so you're not being held back on other people's journeys, because you might just be too go with the flow. To overcome this karmic thing on top of you is that you might have this impatience and depression because your life is going nowhere. And I mean, that does happen because of other people coming to you, like other people latching in and going on their own journeys. You're not going to be happy on their journey. You might be happy on it for a second, but you got to know when to go. It's really important that you know when to go and get your own, lust for life in this situation. And another thing that might happen is that you reach your physical peak, and your physical, like enlightenment, if that makes any sense, like realize how to manipulate your own body, how to really control yourself. But what happens then is that your spiritual development is sort of out of whack, which means that you can start running your own life through evil techniques and things, because that's not protected. There's no boundaries here in your outside, like aura and your presence and all of that. You're more protected in your physical sense because you're so afraid to move. I mean, fear is what protects our bodies, because we're so afraid to move. We don't ever get hurt. You're never gonna, get hit by a car if you don't go for a walk that day. So you just don't move. And so that physical enlightenment is like, well, I got to take care of my body. And if you keep taking care of your body, you will be so afraid to fuck that up. There's a faith part to you that even though you do know everything, you know it's going to hurt you, you can still go and you find something new. There is something new you're supposed to latch your life onto, and that is going to bring you a lot of enjoyment in this life, to discover new things even when think you've seen it all, which will give you your skill set, which is that you can bring peace to the world. You can heal the world through your service. And I think instead of maybe being depressed and say lusting after things that serve no purpose in your life, you might, and attachments to other people, if you lust for peace, being able to deliver peace, helping and healing people on their journeys while you are going to find something that you've never done before, which will give you happiness, peace, and deliver peace to everybody else around you. You know, one person at a time, or sometimes even on a grander scale. Anyway, that is your 9 birthday, and I will talk to you guys later. And for anyone who's watched this entire thing, thank you so much for staying with me, and I will be back later. Same bat time, same bat channel. Just kidding, I don't know when, but I'll see you again soon. Okay, bye.